Hey, stop giving talks that make you busy and start giving talks that make you money. In my brand new limited series podcast, Public Speaking Monetization Tips, I'll show you exactly how to use speaking to grow your business, attract high-end quality clients, and get paid, even from no-fee gigs. So if you're serious about turning your message into income, search public speaking monetization tips on your favorite podcast platform and hit play today. Happy Thursday, everybody. This is Laurie-Ann. I am your host of the Be in Demand podcast that you're listening to right now. And today is a special speaker breakthrough session. And I have one of my clients, former students, friend, who raised her hand to say she wanted to come on the show. Her name is Lisa Bain. And if you are interested in having your very own speaker breakthrough session, stick around to the end. Lisa, welcome to the speaker breakthrough session.
I am so excited to be here with you, Laurie-Ann.
I can't believe we're finally doing a speaker breakthrough session. Usually people do them before they enter my world. And when I saw your name as an application and you booked an appointment, I was like, oh, fun. Let's see what we're going to talk about. So that my audience knows who you are and what you do and all that good stuff, could you just briefly share to everybody?
Absolutely. I really love helping people and organizations move forward when change shows up at their doorstep. The little steps they can take, the big steps they can take, and just working through a lot of the fears that we all face when change shows up unexpectedly.
Unexpectedly, yeah, because people love the change that they enjoy, but it's
Mhm.
the change that they weren't expecting, they saw coming, but they know it's unpleasant. I mean, that's the stuff that we really do want to avoid. At least that's what I have noticed in not only myself, but also the clients that I work with. So I love this topic. It's very evergreen. It's never gonna go away. So good for you. I love this for you. What would you like to get out of our time together today?
Well, I would like to know how I can use my upcoming book to get on more stages in 2026.
Okay, tell the audience about your book.
Right. So the book is called Now What? And the subtitle is How to Move Forward When Life Changes and You Don't Know Where to Start. So this encompasses all the biggies, and even some of the things that we don't think about. Some of the personal life changes like divorce or relationships ending, loss, grief, job loss, and even corporate change. Maybe there's downsizing. Maybe there's all kinds of things going on inside the workspace, and you're just feeling a little bit lost. So that's what this book is really all about, is helping you move forward.
Nice. I love this. When is the book coming out?
April of 2026.
Okay. Before we start with some ideas and some questions that I have for you, it's reminding me of when my second book came out. I reached out to a bunch of associations
Mm.
and I specifically remember like one of the associations, it was a women's business group that was in Vermont and they were having sort of like a mini conference. I'm pretty sure it was just a half a day. And I was one of the 3 speakers that was coming in, but they also had an exhibit hall. They booked me because of like, I literally did reach out to a bunch of associations and told them about my up and coming book. So now is a great time since your book is coming out in April to think about like all of those springtime conferences. They didn't pay me to speak. I got some great photographs though that I still use on social media. Got some great photographs and they also paid for my hotel and dinner the night before with people. So that was really a nice perk because it was a 3-hour drive for me from here. So that's an idea, and I remember, like, I did send out several, probably not as many emails to promote the book because it was just, like, one of these like, I was newer at this, and this was just, like, one of these new ideas, like, "Oh, let me try this and see what happens," but I'm sharing that with you because I think you would be perfectly aligned for springtime conferences.
Right. Had not thought of that.
There we go. There's one idea. So, your book is going to set you apart from a lot of speakers. Don't assume that all speakers have books, especially when they're applying for keynote opportunities. So, you having a book is really going to set you apart. And if anything, it's going to make you look better. The fact that you have a book. Okay. Another way to use that book, and we haven't even talked about like paid opportunities, is, if you're being paid, again, I stress the fact that different associations, different conferences, they have budgets for speakers. Since you're not a professional speaker, and it's not like, here's my keynote fee is $10,000, $15,000. Since we're not in that category, and that's not the sort of conferences that we're thinking of, we're going to ask them, like, what's their budget for speakers? They'll tell you what their budget is. If it's below what you normally want to say yes for, now you get to use your book to actually earn more during that time. And here's why: a lot of conferences and corporations have budgets for speakers, but then there's a separate budget for education and another budget for gifts. You having a book would come out of the gift and also the education budget. So whenever I have spoken, and if you listen to my podcast episode, it was behind the scenes. It was a couple of years ago, and it was with a large insurance company. And I brought you through, here was the pre-meeting, here was the proposal. And in that proposal, the third option was that they could also buy a copy of my book at a discounted rate for everybody who was attending this particular virtual workshop. And those books just got delivered right to their office for them to distribute to their employees. And again, that came out of a gift budget. So I actually,
Ooh.
yes, yeah. And so I actually made more than my typical speaker fee because of that.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yes. But that's really what can happen to you, especially if you know any organizations where you can get like some sort of a warm introduction to the people who actually, or the committees who are actually planning different events, both in person and virtual. You could be talking about your book. That can be like, you could literally do the same proposal that I did. Option A is just a talk. So you come into the organization, you do a 1-hour talk. Option 2 is you do the talk plus a follow-up. I really like to offer a follow-up, and I really make the price point very little, that it's a no-brainer to say yes to the follow-up call. We're going to get Lisa to speak for an hour, and then she's going to come back and speak for an hour again. And you do it like a month later, because I want people to try to implement what you're talking about and what you're teaching, and they're going to run into some speed bumps. This is exactly how I explain it to the committee. They're going to run into some speed bumps, some real life speed bumps. Let's talk about it in a month. And then option 3 was everything from option 2 plus the books. And they had told me what their budget was for this event. But because they wanted to order the books, they found the money. So
Out of curiosity, when you use these three options, what do you find most committees go for? Or does it really vary?
it's really going to vary, but I'll give you the thought process behind the whole proposal. Option A is, what am I not gonna like, oh, darn, I can't believe I said yes to this. What is the baseline that you're gonna be like, you know what? Okay, this is gonna be good. This feels good for me. The price point, the time that you're committing to, that you're putting into this, that all feels good. Option B is what you really want to do for this organization, for this association. So that's why I say like for me, it was doing the talk plus the follow-up. I wanted more time in front of these people, more time in front of these decision makers also because they were part of the audience. And option C is for your VIPers.
Mm,
There's a lot of people, like, they only fly first class. When they're going to a conference, they sign up for the VIP. This is for your VIP people. In this case, with this company, they wanted to do something nice for their employees. So they gave out books to anybody who actually filled out the survey. I think that was the only bribe, was they wanted people to fill out the survey so they got more information about what people wanted in the future,
right.
and that's how they got a book.
And how would you charge the follow-up? Would you have that as 2 separate agreements? Like, just for argument's sake, keynote maybe is 2,500, follow-up is 1,000,
I
or how
make
would
it
you break that
I
down?
So let's just say for you to speak, it's gonna be 2,500.
Yeah.
I would make the follow-up and that speech 3,000.
Ah, got you.
Like, I make it such a no-brainer for them to say yes, because
Got it.
I really do wanna do the follow-up Q&A. There's no work. They sent me the questions ahead of time, so I knew what the questions were, so I could prepare for some of them, and there was one question for this particular insurance company. I remember it's just like, "Ooh, this is gonna be a tough one." And it was about, the difference in pay, male versus female. So, that was a sticky one, and I was able to use my past experience where I experienced that, and so I shared with them, "Here's what I said in that situation," and then I got compensated what they were paying everybody. So, that's just one idea. So, I try to make it something so simple for them just to say, "Oh, hell yeah. Let's do option B," and in this case, they actually opted for option C.
Very
So,
cool.
I do find there was another company that a global logistics company, and they were bringing people in from around the globe to attend this leadership conference and meeting, and my option 1 was I spoke 1 hour on day 1. My option 2 was I spoke 1 hour on day 1 and a half hour on day 2. And again, it was, like, such a no-brainer that they picked option B. Option C, the 3rd option for them was everything from B plus I would coach their 4 top leaders for 4 months. So there was a huge price gap with that one, but I was pushing them towards option B because I knew that I could do this talk on day 1 and another talk on day 2. And again, I was in front of leadership longer.
Mhm. Right.
And then I got to have a great conversation with the new head of HR. But they didn't opt for option C, they didn't want the, coaching.
Mhm. But like you say, I love how you kind of steered them
Yeah.
easily to make option B the absolute best solution for them.
Yes, yes. And you have to get people on a phone call beforehand. Find out what pains they're experiencing, what do they want resolved, why did they pick you, and just gathering all this information. That's why everything is a customized proposal. So you have an excuse to be reaching out to people.
You're right.
Because of your book and springtime conferences. I mean, if your book's coming out in April, you're, like, in prime conference season. So what I would do is, if you know of what conferences happened this year that maybe you attended, that you spoke at, because this is probably gonna be a whole new talk for you, right?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a reason to bring you back. You're gonna talk about something completely different. So start getting bookings on the calendar now for next year. I would reach out to all the places that you either spoke for this year or you've spoken for in the past and let them know about the book and that you are booking right now for 2026 with your new book.
Love that.
And then I would do a Google search for conferences, and you could give it a topic, um, or pick an industry and ask specifically, put it in quotes, 2025. Let's find the events that did happen and reach out to them.
What's your experience with speaking with women's groups specifically? Is that something that you
Yeah.
would
In my
recommend?
definitely from my leadership days, I spoke for women's groups inside of churches. And, like, I remember this one church, they paid me. Another church, I gave a free coaching session away and that person became a client. So that was a great ROI. She became a client for a long time. Chambers, who also have women's conferences. I got paid for that one as well. Along with, here's the other idea. I want to make sure I share it with you regarding the book. We did pre-sales.
Yes.
We did discounted pre-sales. So they took care of everything. It's like in the registration, if you want a discounted copy of Laurie-Ann's book, because I was the keynote speaker, they literally got it for like $15. I think I sold them at the conference for $20. And I walked in and I hand them like a bag of books. Here you go. And as people registered, it was like, here's your book. And then the chamber just mailed me a check. So that's another idea.
Very good. Very good.
There's lots of fun ideas. I remember hearing, I've never done this. I remember hearing somebody talk about he would get a couple of friends to call a local bookstore and say, "Do you have a copy of," and it was his book. And they would look it up and they'd be like, "No, sorry, sir, it's not in the system. We don't have it." And it's like, "Oh, okay, I'll call back another time." But he would have like another friend and another friend. Before you know it, these people are like, "We have got to get a copy of this book. We're missing out
Right.
on these sales." But I have put my book also in consignment stores. Like there are some local small bookstores that will you bring them like 10 books and they'll sell them and they get their cut and then they just tell you like at the whatever the time frame is, like here's the money and here's any extra books if they're going to take it off the shelf or they sell them all. So there's so many ways, but another idea to get you into more conferences and to be speaking about your book is also to mail them out once you have a conversation with people, especially if there's a particular chapter. Like, I don't know, do you know how long your book is? How many words, how many pages?
Yeah, it's right around 121 pages, kind of a deal.
121 pages. Okay, so that could be a lot for somebody to read who's really busy, who has a family also after their work life. So consider like you have your pre-event meeting or you're just chatting with them about potentially speaking at their conference. I'll mail you a copy of my book. And then put a sticky note in the chapter. Read this chapter because this has everything to do with the pain points that you mentioned your audience was experiencing, your audience, your company.
That makes great sense.
What other
Love that.
questions do you have? I know I just threw a lot out at you.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I've been busily writing them all down here.
It's a good thing this is a podcast episode.
Right? Right? Um, I do like the idea of mailing out author copies. I mean, anybody who's written a book knows that you can get author copies for just a few dollars, really. And it's something that I think would really grab people's attention. Like you say, I mean, if you're getting pitched all day long from speakers, but you have a book show up on your desk and I think you might be inclined to take a closer look at that. I
Yeah.
really like that idea. Um, and I think you got me thinking too about some of the local women's groups here that I belong to just as an entrepreneur. And I have mentioned that there's a new book coming and, they want to have me in. And, we haven't nailed down times, but maybe that's a perfect conversation to have.
Yeah. Let's get some dates on the calendar because you would hate to have to say no to somebody because you already booked something. So let them feel like they have it's first come, first serve, and that's why you're reaching out to them regarding the book.
Mhm.
And I know that you're inside my membership in demand, and we were talking about the different ways that you could have your basically do a book tour. So
Mhm.
you've got lots of ideas to get this book out there. I'm
Indeed.
so excited for you.
Yes. Yes, me too. It's the perfect pivot at the perfect point in my life right now.
Yeah, it is. So what I always ask people at the end, what's one or two gold nuggets that you are walking away with today?
Just one or two? Gosh. Well, I think what I hadn't even thought of is springtime conferences. That is a big one. And the other thing is that my book does set me apart, and to utilize that, whether it's in emails, whether it's sending the book out, whether it's talking about it more when I'm just talking with other entrepreneurs and event planners and that kind of thing. I think those are two big, big nuggets that I'm walking away with.
Very nice. And I'm just gonna put a little note that I want a signed copy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when it
Yes.
comes out, I have a shelf here in my office of all signed copies from clients that have written books.
Very cool. I'd
You have
love
a
to be a part of your
special
collection.
yes, yes. So, Lisa, would you share with people where they can find you, follow you, and learn from you?
Absolutely. Probably the one best place to go, one-stop shopping, is find me on LinkedIn. And that is Lisa Boehm Speaker, LASABOEHM. And introduce yourself too if you find me over there. Send me a
Yeah.
DM and let me know what you're dealing with.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on and having this book talk because this is not something that I people regularly show up with on a speaker breakthrough sessions. I know that this is going to inspire people to write a book and also here are some ideas on what to do with an upcoming book if I'm going to write a book. And also if you do have a book, consider doing these things as a rebrand almost like consider it a rebrand, but it's not really, you're not really rebranding it, but just get your book back out there. And with that, I want you to be in demand, and I'll see you next time. And if you would like your own speaker breakthrough session, stick around. Are you tired of hearing crickets on social media? Wondering where to get seen by the right people? Or frustrated with the growth of your business? Then the speaker breakthrough session is just for you. During this free 20-minute discovery call, I'll help you recognize where you're leaving money and opportunity on the table. You'll walk away with tips and a strategy to leverage speaking opportunities to get positioned as the expert, visible to the right people, and monetize your expertise. Book your call at speakandstandout.com/SBS for Speaker Breakthrough Session.